2018 Cinema Curse, the Full Moon Halloween Special. If you don't know, Full Moon is a C-level production company created by Charles Band that specializes in weirdo horror movies. They've released some Stuart Gordon stuff like Castle Freak, the recent Evil Bong series that everyone loves, the Trancer series that we might talk about a little later, probably most notably the Puppet Master series, the first of which we're going to talk about, along with the most my brain collapsed in itself, and I forgot the bridge for the joke. The most ambitious crossover film of all time, Dollman versus Demonic Toys. I'm your wicked game master, Connor Lloyd Booze, which is 2 puns. Haha. And I'm lit by candlelight tonight, so I might be more of like a phantom, but that's okay. It kind of fits.
I can't really see you that much.
You can see me a little bit. The Joey Chestnut of talking about movies, Deadwin Gomez, is not with us anymore. He was riding on his scooter at 200 miles per hour and just exploded like the Grim Reaper in Spookies. But returning... It's on you, Paul. Introduce yourself.
Oh, it's on me. I'm Paul. Not much to say about me. I'm Paul. I watched some of these movies.
Nice.
Hey everyone, Alex here. I also watched some of these movies.
And joining us for the first time...
Hi, Al Vanderclip, or I guess my perpetually Halloweenified username is Al's from the Crypt. Big Full Moon Empire Studios, to a lesser extent Moonbeam Productions fan. Trancer's poster always up in my living room.
Yeah,
I love these guys, especially Tim Thomerson, and I love being conned by them into watching these movies time after time.
That's a perfect way. Being conned is a perfect way to describe the feeling of watching these movies. I want to shout out Marina Sakamoto and her band Shunken for the use of their song Curse off the EP She Nods for our opening. And I would like to say that it's been 103 days since the SAG strike started and the AMPTP still sucks. But let's move on to... I'm going to change my background. I need like a more fluid way of doing this. Which one's the one I was using for this one? Oh yeah, it's Puppet Master.
Oh.
Who wants...
Wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute. That's not Puppet Master behind me. Let's who wants to explain the plot of Puppet Master? I think me. When was the last time everyone's seen it? I watched it a couple weeks ago.
So you're probably the best to...
Like 2 days ago, but please, by all means, go ahead.
Alex, why don't you take it?
Sure. So we start in a flashback. There's this, I think, Jewish puppet maker who's being pursued and hunted by Nazis, and they find him in a hotel. But before they get him, he seals his puppets up in like the wall with, was it like a curse or some kind of magic that animates them to life? And then many years later, we have these...
It's like an Egyptian pharaoh's secret or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's really vague with the magic because it's not important really.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of like giving us a plot, that's basically the foundation. And then many years later, there's like a death of the ancestor, and all these psychics and like paranormal professionals come to the hotel, basically to... they say pay their respects, but they're out to really just exploit the estate. And then, you know, the dolls find them and the magic is back, and they start killing people. And we learn more about the curse and kind of its history.
Yeah, that's that's a pretty. It feels like a hat on a hat, like that. There's living puppets, but then also like an ancient Egyptian secret or something. I don't know. What do you think about this one, Al?
Yeah, I mean, this honestly, this is new to me. I always kind of avoided these movies because there were so many of them, and they had even among Full Moon fans like not the best reputation. So jumping into this one was very surprising how much kind of plot there was and how much setup and how much care went into it. I personally really liked the team of sidekicks angle that all these people showed up, called together by their former colleague who was already dead, and started to unravel this mystery that I personally still don't understand that well. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. The puppets are cute, and the kills are outstanding, and I don't know. So I was very impressed. It's a great first impression.
Totally, yeah. I mean, the kills are the peaks of the movie. They know why we're watching the film. They give us a plot, but it doesn't really, or a story, I guess. It doesn't really matter. It's all about the puppets and the set pieces and the killing.
I will say, like, you weren't there when we watched it, because it was your birthday week, I think. But Paul,
yes,
and
I was out of town.
But I did at one point early on. There is like a pretty large gap early on where a couple of times I was like, "Where are the puppets? Like, I want to see these fucking puppets." But then there's a pretty good amount of puppet action in the latter half of the movie, and I do think they do this like repeating. One of the characters gets visions of the future, and they do this sequence where he like sees a lot of it, and then it like goes through it again, which I thought was like a cool moment and just a cool narrative thing. What do you remember about this one, Paul?
Oh, I barely remember anything. I'm probably not the best person to speak of this, but I'm remember Dollman versus Demonic Toys a little bit. So
okay, cool.
I'll be good to talk about that one.
Puppet Master was the most successful Full Moon film, right?
Yes.
Or like yeah.
I'm pretty.
It has this massive franchise now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's individually number one is the most successful, but I know that like it is. If you Google Full Moon, Puppet Master will be like the first thing that pops up.
Yeah.
And
if you sign up for the Full Moon streaming service, they'll send you like a 10-pack of Puppet Master Blu-rays, which I've never done.
They have a streaming service?
Yeah.
Which is funny because all of their movies are free on Tubi.
But yeah, you're not wrong. It's worth it for the physical media alone. I mean, Tubi's great, but it's no Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. Are they still offering this? Let me look this up. I mean, this is live.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but man, last time I was on their website, looking around for the Trancers 6 DVD. They were offering that, and I was like, man, they must have a warehouse full of these Puppet Master box sets.
It's buy a 1-year subscription, and we'll send you a code to redeem one of the following: Wizard Video 6 Blu-ray Euroscene Collection Big Box Set, signed Diana Prince Sexy 6-pack DVD box set, Evil Bong EB Stash box, or a Puppet Master 12-disc box set. And so, but yeah, you can get it, which is at $60 a year. So you can get a full year of Full Moon features and one of those wonderful gifts. Our sponsor, Full Moon Features. I just got my PayPal payment from Charles Band just came in. It's funny. Like I think there's not as much to talk about with Puppet Master because it's like solid, but it's also like, I thought it was a little sleepy personally. I was like, oh, this is probably out of the Full Moon movies we've watched. Maybe it was like too good. Maybe that was the issue. It was like, I was watching it and I was like, this is like slightly more competent in certain ways. And I was like missing that that charm of it being like so fucking like what the fuck is happening. It was more like what the fuck is happening from the point of view of just like it was kind of like the movie takes a while to fully explain like what's going on. But yeah, I mean it was still pretty fun. I love those puppets. I love the leech woman. What's her? Hold on, she has a full name. Let me look this up. That's a Furnace Leech Woman. Furnace Leech Woman, I guess, because the next Puppet Master movie is a movie. They've done a couple of like focused films on specific characters, and she's getting the next one.
Thank God. I gotta say, like, specific moment in the movie I really appreciated when she comes up and she's like sucking on the magician's nipple who's like tied to the bed, and it's playing this like goofy kids movie music over it until the leeches start coming out. But man, that really got me. That was hilarious.
That's probably one of the best parts of the movie, that sequence.
Yeah, that puppet vomiting leech is easily the best part of the movie, I think.
And I like the little drill head puppet, and obviously that main puppet Blade, the Daywalker, is a really cool design. I don't you know, he's the one who kind of looks just like a white ghoul man in like a little suit. He got his.
I'm curious, like, the term puppet master, to me, it seems to imply like, and I don't know because I haven't seen these later movies yet, and I don't know if y'all have, but like, is the puppet master the person controlling the puppets? So like every movie, the puppets like personalities or what they're doing or who they're allied with, is that different from movie to movie to movie?
I think it is. I think that's kind of the idea, because it kind of does seem. I will say this: this first Puppet Master does end with like seemingly the toys having the puppets having like overthrown their shackles, and like they want to break free.
Well, it's not even that much, I think.
Yeah.
It's like they just didn't realize what, I guess, their like master's plan was, and once they fully learn it, they just kind of object to it and say, "We're just going to kill you." It's not like they were really even bound by any kind of magical constraints or anything. Yeah. They just didn't dig it.
Well, and they also didn't like how the master was like pushing them around and beating them up, I think. Was part of it as well. But I don't know. It's kind of funny. I guess it makes sense. The more that I'm thinking about it, the more that I'm like, the things that maybe... It's funny when I just completely disappear. The things that maybe make this not my favorite full moon feature are probably also the things that make it the most accessible in a way. Like the fact that it is, other than the leech woman scene, I think it doesn't have that like weirdo factor of just like, what the fuck am I watching? Which, you know, like I think my favorite one-off, and we'll talk about this later, is maybe Head of the Family. And that whole movie, you're just like, what the fuck am I watching? And it's great. But yeah, that's Puppet Master for you. I don't know if anyone else has stuff about Puppet Master.
I did briefly, and maybe this is more of like a full moon general discussion, but like, where do you think, if you were to speculate, the Charles Band obsession with dolls and puppets comes from? Because like, these were just ones I listed off the top of my head on the bus today. The Dollman, Blood Dolls, Pre-Hysteria, those are little puppets. Puppet Master, Stuart Gordon's dolls, Baby Oopsie. Like, this is like a consistent thing and theme he returns to. And I just, for the life of me, I'm not sure why that is. Because it's cheap. I mean, that's the big one. But like, psychologically, what's going on there?
I wonder, maybe he like almost got in on producing Child's Play, and then he's just like, fuck, after that. And so he's just like trying to capitalize on it as much as he can. I think, yeah, go ahead.
A lot of it is just, this is cool.
Yeah.
this looks good, and maybe he has like access to some cool puppeteer, like effects artist, and it's just like it works. I'm gonna keep going. Maybe that's selling him short a little bit, but I feel like these movies are made out of just what they can get access to.
Well, they're fundamentally like canon movies and stuff. They're exploitation films. Like they're movies that essentially exist to mine money out of an audience by appealing to some like weird kind of specific baser desire to a certain degree, and just kind of use like whatever resources are available, which I don't necessarily mean derivatively. Just I think that's what they are, and I could totally see it just being like a money thing, because it allows you, maybe not so much with like Stuart Gordon's dolls or something. That could be more specifically like Stuart Gordon was like, I want to make a movie about dolls, like specifically, but the prevalence of it everywhere else, I could definitely see it being like, you don't need an actor, you know what I mean? And you could just kind of like have like a little baby doll like go like and you can just kind of base your whole movie around that. But yeah, let's move on to.
I think that's funny. I don't think they're particularly great puppets either.
No,
I mean they're fine.
Yeah.
Maybe that. Then again, for the production value for the rest of the film, maybe it is a highlight. It's just something that they have. But
yeah.
Yeah, in these like earlier movies, you get like these flashes of brilliance, like these really good effects. Like there's like a 2-second shot of the puppet with the big hands in the elevator that's entirely stop motion, and it looks great. But for the most part, it's like, how can we make these things move around? Well, it's a first person viewpoint. You see Blade's little knife and his hook, and it's cute and it's efficient, and that's what it's all about, saving money.
Yeah. Well, speaking of saving money, let's move on. I got a picture of Tim behind me. I found this beautiful picture of Mr. Thomerson. Let's talk about Dollman versus Demonic Toys. And in order to talk about it, I think Al, you said you have a poster of Dollman, so I'll let you. Can you explain to us what's Dollman all about?
So Dollman, he is a guy on his own planet. He's regular size, but when he is chasing his enemy, and they do a really good job recapping the movie in this one, although I think the first one is really the film to see. He's chasing his longtime enemy who's just ahead on like what we would now call a drone, to Earth. He lands and he discovers that humans are 5 to 6 feet tall, and he's 13 inches.
Mm-hmm.
What does it say on the poster? 13 inches with an attitude.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. So he runs around basically doing like a Dirty Harry impression, and wiping out drug dealers, and his little head enemy guy gets squished, if I'm remembering that right. And then the movie just kind of wraps up very abruptly, and he doesn't go back to his home planet or anything. He just walks away.
Yep. Presumably to get run over because he's very small. Alex, can you tell us what happens in Demonic Toys?
Well, it's been a little while since I've seen Demonic Toys. I think it was when we watched it on the Monday night movie night, but it was there was like a failed arrest by this police officer in this warehouse where there was like a portal to hell or something. Someone was like summoning Satan, but it didn't fully go through. Instead, these toys came to life.
It's basically, and there's kind of a joke here I'm building up to, but basically there was like a Satan baby a long time ago, and then it got buried.
That's right.
Got buried underneath what then became a toy warehouse, and then someone got like knocked on the head or something and bled blood into a crack in the ground, and it fell onto the dead demon baby, and then that possessed the toys, and they're trying to resummon their master, the devil or something.
That's right. Yes.
And that's kind of the gist of it.
And as demonic toys.
Yeah, and the toys are very like vulgar and crass and just like mean, which is I mean it's like their charm. That's the fun of the movie.
If I saw these guys in real life, I would fucking hate them. I would feel like
it's so true. I did want to kick them, and man, those toys have this shit beat out of them. It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And then Paul, can you explain to us, if you remember, the plot of Bad Channels?
Oh, I have no recollection of that movie. It was kind of garbage.
You really didn't like that one. Right. I remember that was.
Well, I shouldn't say garbage, but it was. I think that one.
I would probably agree that's my least favorite of the Full Moon movies.
Unmemorable.
I think the reason is because it's like really trying to be like a comedy, funny, goofy. I mean, all these movies are trying to be kind of goofy, but like that one's really leaning into it, and it's just like, okay. But that one's basically about these aliens, and they go to a rock station on Earth because they want to capture babes and make them tiny. And at the end of the movie, most of the babes get turned back to normal size, but one is kept full size, or one is kept not full size. One is kept shrunk down, and there's even
perfect proportions to Dollman.
Yeah, and the movie ends with a post-credit scene of Dollman walking on the street and being like, "Hey, you seen that city where that tiny girl is?" or something, and that leads us to Dollman versus Demonic Toys, which is, I think, not a real movie. It's I loved what you wrote, because you just watched it or rewatched it, Al, and what you wrote about it, about being tricked, made me laugh. If you want to elaborate on that.
It's so true. I mean, it's like, it's that weird thing they do of like really, really pandering to their fans. It's like, oh, you love Dollman, you love the Demonic Toys, you kind of liked that other movie, whatever it's called, with the shrunken ladies in it. Like, well, guess what? They're all here and they're all together, and this movie is barely over an hour long, and most of it's not even this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I just rewatched it, and I wrote down, I did a time breakdown of the movie while I was watching it. If we want to go through the time breakdown, I'm 1 minute off. Like, if you add up the times I give you, you'll be left with 59 minutes instead of an hour, which is the actual length.
It's just an hour.
But it's a full moon feature, and but it begins with a so there's a minute here, like, lost in like little bits. Assume every one of these has like 5 extra seconds or something, and that makes up that minute. There's a 30-second intro scene, which I believe is just the scene from the end of Bad Channels. There's then 4 minutes of credits, opening credits. There is then a 30-second flashback to the first Demonic Toys. There is then one of the 2 big chunks of original material, 18 minutes worth of original stuff, though this does include a very long scene of a little person looking at porn. And
I remember that. I remember the beginning of like the first original stuff, and Dollman versus Demonic Toys being my favorites.
Yeah, and then there's that the ex-cop, like the lead, I think, from Demonic Toys, just kind of, there's a lot of her. I would imagine, I didn't break it down this specifically, I would imagine there's like 2 to 3 minutes of her just like silently like wandering around boxes of toys and And then there's a really long intro of Ginger, the girl from Bad Channels.
You forgot about the homeless dude.
Yeah, well, that's not. I wasn't saying
go to that.
I wasn't saying everything that happened. I was more so just giving
Right.
a general time recap. There's then a 2.5-minute Dollman recap, a 30-second transition to another 2.5-minute long recap. This time of Bad Channels. There's then 18 minutes more worth of original stuff. The last 8 minutes is actually Dollman fighting the demonic toys, though in both of these sections there's also just a lot of people wandering around sets and kind of slowly just kind of looking at things, camera kind of following. You gotta fill time. It's hard to get the 60 minutes. There is then 30-second demonic toys recap, another 8 minutes of Dollman fighting the demonic toys, including the resolution, and then 4 minutes of credits. Which means more than 10% of this movie is credits.
Outstanding.
And about another.
There's a lot of people to thank and to give credit to in this very.
The credits did seem kind of like
film.
slow. I remember watching and being like, do these, yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things with these movies in their catalog. I've noticed on at least 3 occasions, you'll check on Letterboxd. Oh, great. This movie is like 77 minutes long, in and out. This is going to be awesome. And then you log on to Tubi and, Mutant Hunt is 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And what they do is that they slow down their movies.
Oh, really?
They shovel them off to other streaming services so that they'll be longer and get more ad revenue. It's just all of these little tiny scams and cons they think of to squeeze an extra dollar out of their fans. It's amazing.
I did not know. The version I did just watch it on Tubi. Was my rewatch of Dollman v Demonic Toys, and it was not stretched out. It was a normal full hour long, but I know what you mean. I think I almost wonder sometimes if that's like not even intentional, where it's like a frame rate issue. You know what I mean? Like maybe they just exported it like, they took something that was shot in 30 frames per second and they exported it into 24 frames without like interpolating that, and so it's just the what would be 1 second is now 1.25 seconds essentially. Like I wonder if that's.
I'm gonna guess that it is intentional and is despicable.
Yeah.
Well, and then either way, it's like, oh, you have so little like passion for the old things in your catalog. It's just like, yeah, I don't know, take a VHS rip of this and throw it into a program and export it, and it's all good to go. Like we're not even gonna look at it.
That was, I guess, how I would describe Dollman versus Demonic Toys above all else. It was completely bereft of passion. Like of any movie that I've seen.
Yeah, I know. We were just joking about how short it is, but like 60 minutes of watching that movie felt like forever.
But even the original content in this movie, as thin as it is, there's no creativity. It's almost like they just brought people to set and said and winged it.
Yeah.
It was
in defense, I do think like the sets themselves, like when they're on the kitchen counter, when they're around the giant walls of cardboard that are the cardboard boxes when you're shrunk down to 13 inches, like that, they're really, somebody's trying something there. And I'm not saying it's Charles Band, but like somebody really worked hard. They did the math to make sure that the dollar bill was the right size compared to the coffee maker, and like those look really good. So that's why they spend so much time dawdling around on those sets, because it's like best looking part of the movie.
Well, are they reusing props? I think they might be just reusing
absolutely,
props that they have. So,
but some of these have to be bespoke props they're making, because like I can't imagine. I mean, I could be wrong, but like, why in Demonic Toys would you need to make a version of the toys that is like the size of a person? You know what I mean? Like, those had to.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
The giant Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Oh man, that thing was really scary.
Yeah.
True.
Easily the best toy.
And,
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Well,
who do you
for
I
me,
love
it's
baby.
like the
Baby,
baby
what's
oopsie?
his face?
well, that's the thing. That character's like deal is to be ultra like vulgar and stuff. And in Demonic Toys, maybe it's just because I watched it with the group and I watched Dollman versus Demonic Toys by myself, but his vulgarity was not nearly as charming in
No,
Dollman
that's
versus
true.
Demonic Toys.
Well, I will
It's
say
another
you.
aspect of the laziness. It's just like, call her a slut.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, whatever.
Everybody's a slut to that baby.
Yeah, it's an awful baby. I did like.
It's not a good baby. It's a bad baby.
I kind of liked the chemistry. I thought that Ginger and Tim Thomerson had like a weird chemistry that I liked them kind of like working together. And I liked, Tim Thomerson kills it as he normally does. I love his intro when he like shows up and shoots the spider and he's like, "Don't worry, you're not dreaming," to her when he shows up. He's great. Though I was thinking about, because like, so we see the ex-cop lady and she has the briefcase, and when she opens it up, they're sitting with their backs to what would be the bottom of the short side of the briefcase, but then she picks it up and doesn't like hold it flat. She just lets it fall. So are they in the briefcase being pulled around like on their backs essentially? Like, are they adjusting in there? That was something that I was very concerned about watching, frankly.
Thank God they're okay.
Yeah. And I do like that guy who tries to interview the tiny girl, the sleazy guy who's just like,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I forget even the stuff he said, but
I just love the idea of being sleazy towards like
a tiny girl,
A 13-inch bright person.
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm gonna contact Bobby. I'm gonna get you a little bikini.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the fantasy there? It's just like,
I don't know. I don't think he's thought it through, to be honest.
You have
No.
you have a negative A cup. Come on. Or I don't know.
But I mean, that's the thing also with these full moon films is if you're a woman character or an actor in this movie, you will, or in any full moon movie, you will likely either appear naked or in a bikini.
Yeah.
They love to do that.
They do.
well, it's an exploitation.
Yeah, that goes into that part for sure.
Right.
It goes without saying.
But it is an undeniable characteristic of all these full moon films.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say there is like for the most part, I can't think, there's not a full moon movie off the top of my head. For the most part, it's like a little more like fun and stuff, it's not like weird. It's not it's not like there's a certain type of slasher movie that will do like rape scenes to get in their nudity.
Yeah, it's not like that.
And
as
full moon
much.
usually doesn't do that as much. It never makes you feel
for sure.
like horribly gross.
More like titillation. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the difference. It's like there's like pornos that are fun,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what are you
And
saying? This is one of those?
pornos that-
Are you
Yeah,
serious
that's like-
pornos, like pornos set in like Nazi Germany?
Oh, I wouldn't say serious pornos, but like the really deviant kind of
Oh, okay.
stuff that that's sort of more in line with, I don't know, what's a production company that I can compare it to. I don't know, a lot of exploitation movies are kind of rapey,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Not to throw your friend under the bus, but Canon did a lot of that. All
Yeah.
of the death
Oh,
wishes
yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no, for sure. No, it's okay. You can throw him under the bus.
canon for sure.
Oh yeah. He deserves to be under the bus.
He lives under the bus. Yeah, it's funny. There's like clips in Dollman versus Demonic Toys of some of the previous films. There's scenes from Bad Channels with the girls dancing, but with the music, because it was like licensed music they were dancing to taken out. So it's like plays like one of those edits where it's like what High School Musical would sound like in real life, or just like awkward sounds and like people's feet scuffling on the ground. And then there's the biggest thing is that the clips of Dollman, you're watching them, and then it's just like, man, this looks so much better than anything else in this movie. Yeah.
And the thing too with Dollman that they don't even involve in this movie at all. I guess why would they? Because he's dead. But Jackie Earle Haley's character is one of the most like charismatic people in that movie, and he's not. I mean, again, he's dead, but if they're recapping it so much, I would put him in there for sure.
Yeah.
Just quickly mention my favorite part of the movie, which was the homeless man.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Riding a tricycle. Yeah,
it's a little homeless man. And what I loved was he's playing drunk, and very rarely do you see a convincing drunk on film. And I think that he was. And I think because he was actually drunk.
Yeah.
It's a drunken homeless man who comes in for shelter for the night in this warehouse.
This toy warehouse.
Yeah, kind of shit talks the toys a little bit. They're not living at this moment. He just doesn't like them. He's like, I don't like your toys.
He knows. Stop, he knows. He's prescient.
And then he decides to drunkenly ride on a tricycle and then tips over. He loses his balance on the tricycle.
Yeah.
And
he bonks his head.
Falling over maybe like a few feet and dies. His head bleeds out.
It releases it like an ocean of blood into that warehouse.
Yeah, and that's what instigates the dolls coming to life is, I guess they like blood, but just that death was one of the craziest deaths I've seen. It just in terms of how little it takes to kill someone violently.
Yeah, well, I think it's even like he has like beer, and the beer spills and mixes with his blood, and so that's why it gets like
something like that.
Everywhere,
but he dies anyway.
And I know that it's so little happens in Dollman versus Demonic Toys when you think about it, because this is getting the demonic toys back, and then the lady from the first one tries to stop the demonic toys, and
she dies in it.
Well, that's later.
Spoilers.
But at the beginning of the movie, she tries to stop it, and the little person security guard and some cops are like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here!" And then the little security guard teams up with the toys.
Little person for some reason.
Hey, maybe he's great at the job. And clearly, by the way, he was easily convinced by these toys to bring prostitutes for them to sacrifice. But
I will say, if you're I know maybe this is politically incorrect.
Wow.
Whatever. I feel like if you cast a little person in a role like that, you're making a creative choice.
Yeah.
I
mean,
and they made a creative choice to make that character a little person for
he might have just been friends with
maybe them whatever reason. Maybe.
Well, and I mean, obviously it's like a half-baked joke, right? Because this is a movie about two very, very small people and a bunch of small toys, and like it's like, but they never really do anything with that.
No,
it's even like an acceptable or good joke to begin with.
Well, that's what I'm thinking of. It's just, what are they trying to say? I don't think anything.
I don't think anything in a weird way. I think they're kind of just playing the whole thing flat. Like it kind of doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like in the context of the movie, I don't think there's any like plot aspects of it that are even like hinge on it.
I think it's more of just like we need to make this a little more interesting somehow. Oh, let's make it's Dollman and toys. Let's make the security guard a little person.
Yeah, possibly.
And that's my take.
But then after the ex-cop lady gets shut out, she is like, I know who can fight these toys, a doll man. And then she spends the middle part of the movie searching down Dollman and Ginger, and then the end of the movie is Dollman using his very cool gun to blow up all the demonic toys. That was something we didn't explain about Dollman.
Could you imagine if Dollman loses his gun, or if the gun breaks somehow?
Yeah.
He's just completely worthless as a character.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. The tiny little gun that blows shit up, like huge explosions, and most of the ones you get are from the first movie, which again looks great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's clearly one of those things in the movie where, like, I remember we watched that because the movie starts with him on the alien planet where he's like proportionately sized to everybody else. Mm-hmm. And he uses the gun and it shoots someone and it blows them up like they got hit by like a fucking rocket launcher. Yes.
And great gun.
And so you're thinking like, and I think I figured it out, or one of us figured it out pretty quickly, because we were like, what the like, obviously it's cool, but it's also like, why? And it's like, well, because when he gets to Earth and he's tiny, he needs to have a weapon that affects people. Because if he had a gun that just worked like a normal gun to people his size, when he got to Earth to full-size people, it wouldn't fucking do anything. It'd be like getting like bit by a mosquito or something. You'd be like, what the ow. But instead his gun that's really crazy on his world essentially functions like a normal gun, kind of on Earth, proportionately.
I wish they made in Dollman a little maybe hindsight creative revisionism. I wish they made the gun more prominent as like not a character, but like a sort of integral to his identity.
Yeah,
I think you could even do something where it's like you said, where you have to make the gun go crazy in the beginning. Maybe you can make the gun have like a little charger or something, like a little setting, so you can be like, I want it to be this powerful, mm-hmm. And then you could do cool stuff with that. So in order to beat a bigger enemy, you have to turn up the thing. And then if you want to like blow up a whole building, mm-hmm. you turn it up even higher, something like that.
What a gun that can blow up a building.
Yeah, he's a feature man. He's an alien with technology.
Yeah,
it's like that's something you can do.
Because he can pull it back to his own hand when he like gets disarmed.
Yeah, that part's cool. Yeah.
True.
And I think that's like an actual feature of some old, like predating my existence action figures, right? They would have like a magnetic grip. I mean, I don't know if that's the joke, but like,
I know what you mean.
Think that was a thing back in the day.
Yeah, like it was stuff in the hands that would keep the extra pieces stuck there or something. Mm-hmm. I have no mm-hmm. idea if that was like the joke or not. It seems like kind of a genuinely, if you do have a special big cool gun that's like your special big cool gun, it does seem like a pretty useful ability to be able to like recall it like it's, I mean, that's like Thor's hammer almost,
Right, yeah.
It's a very useful way to be able to like use your weapon. And so I wonder if it's just that
source of Dollman's power.
Yeah, is his gun, his big cool gun.
His gun.
Which on Earth is his little cool gun.
If he didn't have that gun, he'd just be a little thing.
He'd just be a little guy.
Yeah, kind of useless, to be honest. But he has the best gun ever, and they need Dollman because he's the only one that can operate it.
Yeah, and he's the only one who can fight these demonic toys, and he does.
That's right.
And the baby tries to rape Ginger.
Oh yeah, something.
But
Goes on for a really long time.
at least she stays closed, and she's essentially it consists of like a big prosthetic hand going like pat on her a couple of times. And
it's also like, I think, what kind of doll is this?
Yeah.
They made. Does it have like genitals?
He says that. He says it multiple times. I think evil. I think evil satanic magic has given him genitals.
Yeah.
What too? I think it was around that point that was like the biggest laugh of the movie for me, is like after two, however many minute recaps and all these credits and stuff, Baby Oopsie looks at the clock and he goes, "Oh, we got a couple minutes. I guess I could tell you the whole story."
Yeah, you wrote something also, like you had a previous review of this that made me laugh, Al. I don't know if do you remember what you said years ago, or
oh gosh,
some point in the past? Let me see if I can.
No, but you can paraphrase for me.
Here, I'm pulling it up. What does it mean that Dollman is from another planet and Nurse Ginger was shrunk by a different kind of alien altogether, but Baby Oopsie is manifested from presumably Judeo-Christian hell? Are other celestial bodies bound by the same doctrines as humankind? Will Dollman go to hell now that he's engaged in premarital sex on Earth? Does it count as sex if one of you is an alien? The theological implications are staggering. So I was thinking about that.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Kudos to former me.
Yeah. And the Boyo says, "My man is in a cave." Yeah, it kind of looks like I'm in a cave with it like this. With the background not being dark. I also noticed a couple of times it would like my face would kind of fade out a little bit, and it would almost like fade into Tim.
You're like the Pazuzu, the subliminal Pazuzu.
Yeah.
He looks like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys a little bit.
Yeah.
It's those thick glasses. Yeah.
It's like his expression.
I don't know what
glasses.
movie that's from, or show that is from.
I don't recognize it.
Yeah.
No.
It looks old.
Yeah.
I just like him as a nerd.
Yeah. He looks pretty
Nerd
groovy,
Tim
honestly,
Thomerson.
to be honest. Looks like a John Lennon type.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I gotta say about Dollman versus Demonic Toys. Let's widen out. Let's talk about Full Moon Features. This man, Charles Band, and all his beautiful merchandise. I mean, creations. That you can spend money on. I mean, enjoy. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I think these are fun. Like I haven't seen as many of them, I think, as Al has, and there's a lot I need to catch up on. And there's obviously like a degree of irony to my enjoyment of some of them, like some of them not, I would say. But it is kind of like, it's like canon for perverts, for good-natured perverts.
Right.
The canon's for the jocks, I want to say. That's what I want to say. Full Moon is for the nerds.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, and there's something like almost like a childlike about, you look at all of the little toys and gingerbread men and like the cute evil bong and the puppets, like, and like we were saying earlier, it's not like necessarily, I mean, it is, it's like these movies are horrible to women, but like it's not in like an adult, like an adult's sexual appetite sense. It's like a kid, it's like frustrated, they don't really know what to do with it, so they'll just kind of show you something. And yeah, I don't know, I mean, I think he's like obviously like a very bad person, Charles Band, and his whole life. But like, I do think like there is something, he's kind of like a horny Willy Wonka or something. He lives in this world of imagination.
Oh.
Yeah, and the thing too is, they're all these exploitation films, but when we watched Trancers, it was earnestly like just a straight up good movie. I mean, that was a cheap, like low budget B movie, but it didn't have the same sleazy qualities as subsequent Full Moon movies. It's like he put his heart into that one.
Yeah, Helen Hunt doesn't get topless.
No.
Yeah.
No, and their relationship is very like, it feels very mutual. Like she was already sleeping with this ancestor guy before Jack Death occupied his brain. And I mean, obviously, I love the movie, but I would agree. I think it's just like a super tight, perfectly written movie that's like lives within its boundaries, but also seems bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Save that for the Trancers episode, though.
Sure,
right.
yeah.
And I do think Trancers, I don't know if it's a step above. It still has the Full Moon sensibility, but I don't know. There's something about Trancers that I love a little bit unironically.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, the others where I'm like, this is just, it's garbage.
Well, there is Castle Freak. I don't know if anyone who else here has seen Castle Freak, the Stuart Gordon
I've
movie.
seen Castle Freak a while ago.
I think I saw the remake that they put out a couple of years ago.
I don't remember.
I was really grossed out by that.
They have a remake, Castle Freak.
Yeah, it was like a early mid-pandemic sort of release. It just kind of dropped. And I don't even know if Full Moon was necessarily associated with it. They might have been.
Well, because I could be wrong, but to a certain degree, like, in a way that, like, a major studio will have all of its, like, blockbusters that are for hire, but then we'll also have the movies that are by auteurs that they're clearly not interfering with. I feel like in that sense, like, Stuart Gordon is kind of that equivalent to Full Moon, where some of his stuff feels like a little higher quality. He's a little more of a consistent director, an interesting director, and it feels a little, but maybe Castle Freak wasn't quite owned by Full Moon. It was like a co-production or something with whatever Gordon and Brian Yuzna's company is.
Man, I was trying to digest the history of Full Moon, Empire, whatever you want to call it, earlier today, and it's like it is such a mess. You almost might think intentionally so, that it's like really hard to tell who was like a production person, who was a distribution company. Like it was all very mixed up, and a lot of overseas back and forth. And I don't know how they track down the rights to some of these, to be honest. It's amazing.
Like, I think Castle Freak is technically, like most, like not most, but like a lot of Stuart Gordon movies is technically based on an H.P. Lovecraft story. Though I have no idea. I think it's called something else. I don't think H.P. Lovecraft wrote a story called Castle Freak. But
that would rock if he did.
Yeah, that would. But that's one of the only ones I remember, mostly because that's I've talked about the Flophouse before as one of my favorite podcasts, and that was a bit one of the guys would do early on, where he would the only three movies they would do like a recommendation section at the end of their episodes, and the only three movies he would recommend are The Invisible Maniac, Castle Freak, and Head of the Family. Speaking of Head of the Family, that I think Head of the Family might be my favorite one that's not a Trancers movie. I know, Al, have you seen Head of the Family?
That's actually a blind spot for me. I have a friend who really wants to see it with me, so I'm kind of holding out for her.
Yeah, it's it is. I mean, it's not necessarily good, but it is. It cracked me up because the premise for Head of the Family. Well, first of all, you have to understand that if you mess with the head, you're dead. But the narrative of the movie is that there's this family of like freaks, sort of, Texas Chainsaw-esque in a way, including like a sexy woman, a kind of just a guy who's strong and stupid, and like a man without eyes or something. But the head of the family is a literal just like a big head, and he's like a real sort of Frasier type, very intellectual and intelligent. And he likes kidnapping people and doing weird experiments on them in his basement. And in the middle of all this, in this small town, there is this kind of scuzzy diner owner who's sleeping with this woman who she's cheating on her husband. And I think early on, the husband gets captured by the family of freaks. And it then becomes this kind of back and forth where they both kind of know stuff about each other. And a lot of the movie reminds me genuinely of the anime Death Note, where it's like the redneck, the scuzzy diner owner will be like, hey, listen, like if you don't pay me $1,000, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna tell everyone about what's going on in this house, all your little experiments. And then the head's like, well, why don't I just kill you instead? And then he goes, well, you have to understand that I have a lawyer, Mr. Deuteronomy, who's up there, and if I don't contact him within 2 days, then he's going to send out a pamphlet accusing you of killing me. Haha. Well, you have to understand that we know of Mr. Deuteronomy, and so we actually can kill him as well. Well, you see, there's 3 other lawyers that have been told that if they aren't contacted, and that's like literally a scene in the movie, like not much of an exaggeration. And that's like the best parts of the movie, in my opinion.
Well, what I love about Ed and the family is this character is a disembodied. It's a head.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big head that's supposed to be a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Like very if there's any movies, like if I see a movie there's a big head that's supposed to be smart, I'm like, this has sort of world-changing powers.
Yeah.
But really it's more of like Mo from the Stooges. Where it's like it's still kind of stupid, but like in a way where he's like the king of the leader of the
idiots,
troop of idiots.
Yeah.
And I love that about it.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting outsmarted by a scuzzy diner owner.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly not.
But he like presents himself as some genius. It's just like, oh, this. I guess his disembodied head is just like kind of mediocre as a genius.
So also the credit of the movie is like you described it in a way that sounds, I mean, it's accurate, but like it's a batshit premise for a movie.
Yeah.
And so like how you wonder how can they sustain that over, the length of a feature film. And it actually does get like crazier by the end.
Yeah.
Which is always a plus.
It has one of my favorite. I've seen like versions of this joke in other movies, but it always makes me laugh. But when they want to pay him the money, they open this like drawer, and they're just like loose cash. It's just like a drawer full of like loose wads of bills and stacks of bills and stuff. And that always is like a funny joke to me when in a movie when someone like opens a drawer and it's like a really unorganized collection of something.
Yeah.
Especially when it's something that's like, I think there's some anime where a character does that like in somebody's office and it's just a bunch of knives. They just like close it. But that made me laugh pretty hard too. Yeah. Any other big full moon thoughts? Anyone's got?
I mean, I will say I'm very intrigued by this sort of approach they're doing, because like you can see them attempting this with Dollman versus Demonic Toys. It's like we're merging the franchises, we're like doing it for the fans, but it was a really half-ass attempt. But now, 30 years later, they're trying to do these, not trying, they are coming out with these individual Demonic Toys spin-off origin movies that's like, trying to pull off some bizarre cinematic universe thing, which I haven't seen any of those yet. I do think it's very ambitious. They did something similar with the Evil Bong, who I hate, and the Ginger Dead Man, who I hate a little more. But it's still like, it's almost like after many, many years of not trying that hard, it's like they're finally stepping on the gas a little, and they're trying to rekindle some of the magic.
Yeah, well, it definitely feels like an age that would be like, it feels like in the last 5 to 10 years, like horror has really, and sort of like, kind of more smaller and lesser known stuff has become more and more like celebrated and accepted, and so it feels like something that they could capitalize on, and especially with the internet, they can find that specific audience a lot easier.
Yeah. Granted, it is very specific, I feel, to the 90s.
Yeah. Well, the 90s were the heyday, I think, probably, for sure.
Right. Especially with the video distribution networks, you were getting these in Blockbusters, and they had, I don't know if y'all have watched one of them on video, but afterward they'll have like a making of featurette, and like, here's everything else that's coming from our catalog, and here are all of the trading cards you can buy. It's very much, I was reading today, like Charles Band was like, yeah, we wanted to do a comic book approach. It was like, we want to get you hooked on everything else that you could be reading, watching, and all of the merchandise you could be buying, and like, we want you invested in these characters. I don't know if they were able to kind of fully realize that, but clearly it's had some permanence, because people are still talking about, these movies today to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's just
I love
us.
the idea. It's they were trying to do something.
Oh, for sure.
That maybe was not lasting in terms of the model of filmmaking and distribution, production, but it was unique, and I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, the approach sort of like accidentally benefits them with the death of the video store, but all of a sudden their whole archive is content, and it's content that you can sell to Tubi or whoever else to host in perpetuity. All these shorter productions, it's like they'll start auto playing Puppet Master 2 after Puppet Master 1. It's perfect for the streaming era.
Yeah.
And that's why I got so hooked, during the pandemic. I was just like, I guess I might as well throw on another one. I have nothing else to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had discovered it at the beginning of the pandemic. That would have been a great, just getting that year-long thing.
Well, I distinctly remember looking at posters like, what else have these guys made? And looking at like Trancers 4 and 5, and I was like, I will never watch something like that. And then I totally did, because there is some weird appeal to like, what are they going to do next? Or like, how are they going to wring more out of this? Or what's the gimmick in this one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are different stages of like online streaming distribution. Whereas when was really the online streaming? It was like 2007, 2008, when it was first like on Netflix. And for a while it was just like, you couldn't find much on online streaming. And then for a while it was like, okay, now there's HBO Go, and you can find really good films, you can find really good shows on online streaming. And now fast forward to 2023, there's like Tubi. Now like everything is online. Everything can be online streaming. And that's where something like Full Moon shines.
Which Tubi is 100% in the way that streaming services have replaced TV channels. Tubi is in movies like in the 80s and 90s when you had to show that a character was being lazy, and they would just like watching a TV channel with like Godzilla movies playing. That's what Tubi is the equivalent of that now, I think.
Yeah, it is the weirdest assembly of content. You'll have these like amazing legacy movies from the 1970s, like these, huge 2.5 hour epics that are, they're not on streaming for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden they'll just drop on Tubi for no reason. And it's like, really? Nobody wanted this? But then it's also, I mean, if you really dig, it's like people's homemade, Halloween party, threadbare, like these $100 productions that, it's 90 minutes long. Tubi will pay for it. And I think there's something amazing about that there's an outlet for films like that.
It's the people's streaming platform.
It's the people's streaming
It is.
Red Letter Media did a thing about this with like the Amityville movies. There's like 600 different Amityville like ripoffs, like Amityville Curse of Amityville, the Amityville's Curse. And that's just
which is weird because I don't think like Amityville Horror, it's just one story, right?
Well, they just call it that, and they have a house that has those windows, and they call it a day, and the rest of the movie is other shit.
Right, because Amityville is just a place. You can talk about the Amityville shark attack or the, I don't know, Amityville puppet master. Like, you can do whatever you want with it.
And you can just have those windows,
Mm-hmm.
It's the most haunted place in America.
Quote unquote, according to famous fraudsters Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Every city claims to be the most haunted place because they want to. It's like a tourism angle.
Yeah,
but just like Full Moon, they want weird people's money.
I went to New Orleans. My brother lives in New Orleans now, and that's like, a lot of people are like this. The horror and haunted aspect of New Orleans is very, very huge there.
Mm-hmm.
They really, I don't know if I'd say take pride in their hauntedness, but it is.
It's a big
it is
part
very
of it.
much a part of the city's identity.
I mean, how that's the basis. You're talking about the basis for the Haunted Mansion, essentially.
Oh yeah, Haunted Mansion is New Orleans.
That's why they're.
I think
it is. Well, it's literally in New Orleans Square, like in the Disney park or whatever.
New Orleans.
But yeah.
And there's that. They did a American Horror Story season on this lady in New Orleans. I can't remember her name, but she's supposed to be very very evil, very haunted, source of haunted ghosts and ghouls in the New Orleans area. What was her name? Sorry, I'm looking at it.
Well, to wrap up, yeah, Full Moon.
I'm sorry.
I don't have anything to say else about Full Moon. So I think we're gonna, unless anybody else does, we're gonna move on to Connor's Wicked Games, sponsored by Chris Isaac. Like Jigsaw, every week I like to play a little game, and this week is Full Moon Mania. There's 3 rounds to this one, each one a little different than the last. In the first round, it's going to be some yes or no questions to get you guys points. The second round, some multiple choice questions to get a multiplier for those points. And then the last round will be a like Jeopardy style wager write-in answer. And so in the first round, you guys have to tell me, were these Full Moon films released during a full moon?
The LaLaurie Mansion. That's what Nick Cage bought.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking of.
Did you
it's
hear
the haunted house Nick Cage bought? Sorry.
That's okay. So I'm gonna read you guys this one. I think you guys can just all answer at once, and once you guys have all answered, I'll let you know. I'm going to give you guys the name of the film, and I'll tell you when it came out, like the exact date. And this is based on Los Angeles specifically, because that's where Full Moon is located. But you have to tell me yes.
Obviously.
Yes, it was released during a full moon, or no, it wasn't. So first off, Blood Dolls, August 30th, 1999.
Yes.
Yes.
I have no way of knowing either way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to guess no, because the odds of it releasing on a full moon are less than the odds
Well,
of
you
it
should have gone
releasing
with the
on-
others, because they got a point. Next
Damn.
next up, Shrunken Heads, May 1st, 1994.
No.
I'm saying
I'm
no.
gonna say no.
You guys all get a point on that one.
Yes.
Next up, Bad Channels, June 25th, 1992.
No.
I'll go back to yes for this one.
I'm gonna say no.
The no's have it. It was
Damn
not.
it.
Head of the Family, November 29th, 1996.
I'm gonna say
Yes.
no as well.
Yes.
The yeses have it on this one. Head of the Family
Oh,
was
my
in
goodness.
fact released during a full moon.
This was a consideration on their release dates.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, because full moons are pretty rare. I
Yeah.
don't say rare, but like, maybe like once every month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's 28 days, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
It's a full moon.
So you would think
yeah.
if it wasn't a consideration, then you'd think that 1 out of every 28 full moon pictures would be released on a full moon.
It's more like a week. It's like there's like a week span when you have the quote unquote full
A
moon
week
out.
span. Okay.
Maybe it's not quite a week, and so it's about a quarter of the year. I think technically there's a full moon, because I think it's the cycle is
I
28
think it's
days.
being generous.
Yeah, it's probably more like a fifth.
I call. Never mind.
It's not like a huge amount of time. It's just that because it goes through cycles essentially, and so the full moon is the quote unquote full moon cycle is the moment it's the full moon until it's the half moon essentially.
I
like
was
that
about to
part of the
contest
cycle.
the legitimacy
Wow.
of this game.
I don't know what to tell you.
You know what?
Hey, the only way to win is not to play. How about Dollman, released on November 27th, 1991?
I'm gonna keep going. No.
I'm going to
No.
go with no as well.
That one was. It was a full moon release during a full moon.
Bullshit.
Wow.
Next up, Netherworld, February 6th, 1992.
No.
No.
That's 1 point for each of you. That was not. How about Stuart Gordon's The Pit and the Pendulum, released
Ooh.
June 27th, 1991?
I didn't even know that was a thing, and I want to see it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I'll say yes.
Say yes.
I'm gonna say no.
The yeses have it.
Oh, I'm like losing. Then again, I'm just going by statistics. I feel like if I were a card counter in Vegas, I'd be winning.
Well, Mr. Vegas, what do you think about The Ginger Dead Man, which was released on August 30th, 2005?
The Ginger Dead Man?
No.
I'm gonna guess
That's
no.
a yes for me.
The no's have it. Sorry, Al. Ooh. Next up, Robot Wars, released April 28th, 1993.
Going no again.
I'm gonna guess no.
Sounds like a yes.
It's a no, unfortunately. How about Demonic Toys, March 12th, 1992?
I gotta
No.
still go with no.
Monic Toys.
Playing the odds.
I'll go yes.
It was a no on that one. All right, we got 2 left of this round. Puppet Master 5, the final chapter. By the way, there's like 13 of these movies, but which was released September
Master 5?
September 21st, 1994.
Going yes again.
21st.
Yes.
Part of me thinks yes, but I want to keep consistent, and so I will be voting no.
You shouldn't have, because it was. And lastly, Trancers.
I'm voting no out of principle.
Trancers 3, released on October 14th, 1992.
See, this is close to my birthday.
I think you're closing out with a yes.
Yeah, October's got to be.
Close out with the no.
I'm going with a yes.
The yeses have it.
This game is nonsense.
Well, speaking of nonsense, so that's 9 points for both of the Alexes and 6 points for Paul. So we have 5 multiple choice questions, and the more you get right, you'll get a bigger multiplier. I could explain to you what the exact multipliers are, but I think that would be boring, and so I'm not going to, and you're just gonna have to trust me.
I trust you.
So this one we'll have people start first. I'll start with Paul and go around. I'm going to make you go last, Al, to begin with, at least, just because I think you know maybe the most amount. I think one of these you actually specifically know the answer to it because you mentioned it earlier, but don't say anything in case they didn't hear it.
I hope this isn't about astrology anymore.
No, these are more genuine trivia questions, and there's
we'll give it a shot.
So, and there's 4 multiple choices for each of these. How many movies has Full Moon founder Charles Band directed? Is it A, 45, B, 62, C, 69, or D, 86?
69 is too perfect because it's the sex number. What was D?
It was D was 86.
86. And B, I'm going to go with B.
62. All right, Alex.
I know he's a Full Moon director, but I feel like he's probably more of a producer than a director, so I'm going to go with A.
Okay, 45. And Al?
I'm also going to go with B.
You're going to go with B? The B's have it. It was 62.
God damn it.
That's just how well I know my Charles Band filmography.
Yeah.
B for band.
I wish it was 69. That'd be cool. He should. I mean, he's still directing movies. He should direct 7 more and then quit. Cause that'd be fucking cool as hell.
He'll direct 7 more and then get struck by lightning to death.
He's gonna keel over dead on the set of his 69th movie, and then they're gonna have to that one movie. They're gonna have to bring in P.T. Anderson to finish up.
Yeah, a Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah.
Or Jim Caviezel. Wasn't that a thing where the last temptation of the Christ?
The passionate.
The lead actor was killed by a lightning strike.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
No, Jim Caviezel is still around. He was just in the.
Well, no, I meant wasn't he brought in as like the replacement?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know.
I just thought that was funny. It's like you're being punished by God for making a anti-Semitic film.
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Yes, of course.
He just starred in the huge box office sensation Sound of Freedom, which I can't wait to watch without paying for it. And make fun of on this show. This next question, we're going to start with you, Alex. What is the original name of Full Moon's sublabel that specializes in softcore pornographic sci-fi comedies? Mm-hmm. Is it A, Outer Realm Films, B, Surrender Cinema, C, Torchlight Entertainment, or D, X-Ray Films?
I'm going to say A.
Outer Realm Films.
Yeah.
Al?
I'm going to go with B, Surrender Cinema.
Surrender Cinema. And Paul?
I'm gonna go with D, X-Ray Films, because I think it's the most porny sounding name.
In an amazing upset, you're all wrong. It is
goodness.
Torchlight Entertainment was the original name. It did later get renamed. I'll say this, Al. It got renamed to Surrender Cinema, or got when it got re-implemented. That became
Torchlight was my number 2.
I knew that. I read it. I read that Surrender on the Wikipedia page this morning, so I was like, it was stuck in my head.
See, Surrender would be good for like a bondage.
Yeah.
Like
potentially.
And they're like it's music that plays over their logos, Cheap Trick's
BDSM.
Al, we're gonna start with you on this one. What is the original name of Full Moon's sublabel that specializes in family-oriented sci-fi and fantasy films?
Goodness.
A. Band Entertainment. B. Moonbeam Entertainment. C. New Moon Films. Or D. Pulse Pounders.
Oh, hold on. This is another trick question, isn't it?
I hope it's D.
I know 2 of these are right. Okay, I think Moonbeam. B.
Paul?
What was C again?
New Moon Films.
I'm gonna go with New Moon Films.
And Alex?
I'm also going to go with New Moon, as I think that's probably their lazy way of trying to like reinvent themselves, kind of just New Moon.
You got it right, Al. It was, you named it earlier at the beginning of the show, Moonbeam Entertainment, which was later renamed to Pulse Pounders.
Oh wow, it is Pulse Pounders. Why is that their family-friendly name?
I can tell you a little story there, little diversion.
Go ahead.
Pulse Pounders is the name of this unreleased project of Charles Band that I have been very interested in because it's a sequel to Trancers. There's a short Trancers film. It's an original Jeffrey Combs, H.P. Lovecraft story called The Evil Clergyman. So those 2 have been released, but the 3rd segment in that never released anthology is this sequel to The Dungeon Master that, there's a clip of it online, and other than that, you cannot find anything about it. So they said they were going to release it in like 2013 or something and have not made a peep about it since. So I don't know what the deal is there. I hope they put it out someday. I would really like to see it.
Because the transfer segment is also the pilot, the like failed pilot that is the City of Los Angeles or whatever.
Wait, was Dungeon Master phenomenal. Full Moon?
They definitely have like redistributed it. I don't know if it was originally made. Well, you know what? No, it's like Dungeon Master is like all of those little different segments, and each one of them was like a Full Moon adjacent director or editor or something.
Yeah.
So I assume the bands had some hand in it.
One can see their greasy, smudgy fingerprints all over it. Paul, this one we're going to start with you. We got 2 more of these multiple choice ones left. Which of the following is not a name of either a Puppet Master puppet or a Demonic Toys toy? A. Bloodhead. B. Matt. C. Mr. Static. Or D. Zombie-toid.
I know Zombie-toid is one. Mr. Static sounds a little sus. I'm gonna go with Mr. Static.
Alex?
What was A again?
Bloodhead.
Bloodhead. That's got to be one for sure. I'd also
that was my second guess.
Yeah, I'd also like to believe that there is one. It's just simply named Matt, so I'm definitely not going to guess that. Yeah. I'll go with C as well.
And Al?
I'm going to guess Bloodhead, but I'm hoping you'll prove me wrong.
No, you're right. Bloodhead was the one I made up.
God damn.
Oh,
Damn. Well, I hope that one's out in the ether now, and
Yeah.
fans will maybe glom onto it. I would love to see
Yeah.
what Bloodhead is.
yeah. I want to see a Bloodhead film.
Yeah, no, there is a Puppet Master puppet that is just named Matt, M-A-T-T. He has a second name too, called like Mutant or something. So I don't know. Maybe it's more complicated than that.
Meat and Matt.
I like that he goes just simply by Matt.
Yeah. Please
Differentiate himself from the rest of these freaks.
please, Mutant's my father's name. Call me Matt. Alex, this last one's going to start with you. In the chronology of the 16 Puppet Master films, where does the original fall? A, 2nd, B, 4th, C, 7th, or D, 10th?
How many of these fucking films are there?
16.
I know they do.
Good
there's
God, damn.
a lot of Puppet Master sequels that have to do with like the Nazi mythology behind like the origin of Puppet Master. So I'm going to assume that they milk that for all it's worth. So I'm going to go with D, 10th.
D, 10th. Al?
See, I'm thinking, I know that there are some Nazi ones, but like also it's really expensive to do a period piece. So
Yeah.
I'm going to guess 4th.
4th. Paul?
You said B is 4th?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with B as well.
It's 7th, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness.
7th. So kind of right in the middle almost of the 16 films, it being number 7. Which is funny because there's about 3 or 4 Nazi related ones, and there's one or two called like Retro Puppet Master. That's like I think about the origin of the guy. That one of those has the dude from The Room in it, Greg Sestero. I think he's like
Really?
the lead of Retro Puppet Master, or one of the
I wouldn't
leads.
think he had any other acting roles.
No,
I mean, that's got to be a wink at the audience.
I think weirdly, I could be wrong about this. I think he might have been in Retro Puppet Master before The Room. I could be wrong. I would have to double check that claim. Let me multiply the points and see where everyone is at now.
I think I'm far behind.
What is? Let's see. You, Paul, you are in last right now. You have 8 points. Alex, you have 9, and Al, you have 18. Due to the multiplier you just got. And so now we're gonna do a final round Jeopardy style question. I think the way it works on Jeopardy is you have to bid first, and then I ask the question.
They give you the category.
Oh, the category.
Yeah.
Evil bong. It's evil bong.
Okay.
It's evil bong related. So everyone secretly note to themselves how many of your points. Again, Al, you have 18, Alex 9, Paul 8. You can write it down, or you can just think it in your head. How many of your points are going to bid? And obviously, be chill. Don't change your answer when you realize you're wrong. All right, everyone has got their bid in their head.
I'm going to bet all of mine.
Okay, you're supposed to wait, but to let us know. But it's fine.
What I'm doing.
All right. Here is the question. Can you name 3 of the 10 Evil Bong movies? And that's including, I'm going to give you really just have to name 2 of the 9 sequels. I'll just go ahead and tell you, because you can just say Evil Bong is one of them. So really 2 of the 9 sequels. And does everybody should sort of think about their answer and maybe like write it down. And
Wait, this isn't multiple choice?
No, this is not multiple choice.
Well, I don't know. I'm still betting all of them because that's the only chance I got to win. So let me just think of some cool titles.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun 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 Dun, 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 brown. All right, everyone good to go?
Yes.
Let's start with Paul. What two Evil Bong sequels can you try to name?
I'm gonna guess Evil Bong Legacy
Okay, and
and Evil Bong The Last Bud.
unfortunately, Paul, you lose all of your points. 'Cause
Oh, no!
neither of those is the name of an Evil Bong sequel. Alex,
I thought I was right.
how many points did you wager?
I wagered 8.
8. All right. And what were your two guesses for Evil Bong sequels?
I came up with Evil Bong versus Demonic Toys and Dollman versus Evil Bong.
You're kind of close on one of those. You still have 1 point left. And then Al, how many points did you wager?
One single point.
1 single point.
Ooh.
And what were your answers?
Evil Bong versus Ginger Dead Man.
Yep.
Pretty sure about that one. And Evil Bong 777.
Yep, that is correct. Those are correct.
Oh my
You get
God.
1 point. I'll read you. These are the Evil Bong sequels. The Evil Bong franchise. It's Evil Bong 2, King Bong, Evil Bong 3D, The Wrath of Bong, Gingerbread Man, Gingerbread Man versus Evil Bong, Evil Bong 420, Evil Bong High Five.
That's pretty good.
Evil Bong 666, Evil Bong 777, The Gingerweed Man, and Evil Bong 888 Infinity High.
That's all. The only one that I approve of is Evil Bong 420. The rest are stupid.
So Paul doesn't, with 0 points, you do not get a medal, unfortunately, today. Alex,
It's fine.
you kind of by default with 1 point get a silver medal because Al, you have taken a gold medal. You join the ranks. If you never come on again, you'll join the rank. There's like 1 or 2 other people who have been on once and got a gold medal and have never been on again, and so they have a perfect record. And so,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I wasted my life.
And really briefly, we don't have Edwin here to do his segment, but we do have a new segment that I just introduced last week. Frasier time. It's time to talk about the new Frasier episode of Frasier. It was really good. The 3rd episode just came out, and it was I think better than the first 2. It's still not great yet, but it's a sitcom. Like, what sitcom's 3rd episode is as great as the best episodes of that sitcom? And probably none ever. Like, maybe like British sitcoms potentially, but like most sitcoms take like a while to kind of warm up. But new one was pretty funny. It kind of had some meta stuff where we found out that Frasier, he had this show that went on for like 11 years beforehand, and it's like we see clips from like the first season of his fake show, and it's kind of like mellow, and then by the last season it's like pretty over the top and silly, and little cute little meta stuff, and good kind of like build and mix them up. So yeah, Frasier, watch it on Paramount Plus or whatever the fuck it's streaming on. CBS All Access.
This show brought to you by Frasier.
The show brought to you by Frasier. Watch Frasier on TV now. But yeah, anything else? Anything anyone wants to shout out they've been enjoying or plug or whatever like that?
Please follow me on Twitch. I don't have any followers. I don't want people to follow me. It's so hard to promote.
It is.
I play Pokemon Unite.
Yeah. Pimsky.
That's very
Pimsky.
sad. I'm Pimsky TTV. That's my name on Twitch.
Yeah.
Every now and then I stream.
Yeah, check Paul out. I was going to
I want to be an affiliate so I can use emotes.
custom emotes. Yeah.
That's the only reason I want to be I stream on Twitch.
I was gonna plug 2 spooky comics I started reading. One that just started, Batman City of Madness, is a new Black Label, DC Black Label comic that just started. That's about like a weird Lovecraft city existing beneath it, and this evil, like Cthulhu Batman escaping and trying to create his own Robin. The first issue of that came out and it was pretty good. And I've also finally been reading the Hellboy. I've never read the Hellboy comics before, and I finally broke into those, and they're great. And you know, I'm sure a lot of people, no one needs pretty famous comics, so not the biggest thing that needs people's attention thrown to it. But if you've been like, I don't know about these Hellboy comics, they're very good. They're really good. And yeah. Alex.
I'll plug a couple spooky movies I just watched. I watched a couple Italian horror films: Mario Bava's Baron Blood and Antonio Margaretti's Castle of Blood. Both are kind of nonsense plots, but if you're looking for just amazing, lush atmosphere and production design this spooky season, you're not going to do much better than those two.
I've seen them, but I love those directors.
Yeah, I mean, both classic directors.
And Al?
Yeah, I guess, things I've been watching semi-recently, still top of mind. I went back to the Nemesis movies, the first 3 Nemesis movies by the director of Dollman.
Yeah, those have been on our
guy.
short list. Albert Pune have been, who
just one of my absolute favorite directors.
Oh,
Passed away last year. Great way to memorialize him. It's been about a year since his passing. First movie is just like flat out fantastic, and the rest of them are all very, very, very different from that. But like the more I go back and revisit them, the more I appreciate them as their own separate stories.
For sure. Yeah, no, I've been meaning to pull one of those for like a Monday night movie night for a while now. And we just haven't yet, but because those look really good. And those have Tim Thomerson in them too, or at least the first one does.
He's in the first one and the third one.
Okay, cool. And let's see. I think we'll wait till the transfers episode to plug the that video you made, because I think about it a lot. But I want to say thank you to Brian Robert for composing our outro. I want to say follow us, Cinema Curse 666 on Instagram and TikTok. Please like this video, share it with your psychiatrist and your loved ones if you think it's good and want to do more stuff, because it motivates me, the guy who puts this together. And don't be mean and shitty. I'm being told
you're beautiful and you matter.
I got some paper here, and I'm being told here that next week is the Haunted Mansion special, all about Disney's new Haunted Mansion movie. But underneath that, there's some line about how that's a joke. So I guess that's supposed to be funny. And then
it stars my brother.
Yeah, it does have Paul's brother in it.
My brother is the star of Haunted Mansion.
But then underneath that, actually next week we're doing horror for kids. We're talking about the new Five Nights at Freddy's coming out this week, and Mithrigan, which came out at the beginning of the year, which seemed like a good pairing. for an episode, and it'll still kind of be the week of Halloween, so I didn't want to completely move away from spooky stuff. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for everyone joining, and thanks for everyone who's watched.
Thank you,
Thanks, guys.
everyone.
Thank you.
Later, everybody.
Bye
Have a good day.